EAA Girsan MC14G84 shooting impressions. Coming up, you'll see my absolute first shots through the gun. Do full magazine plus one, see how the gun runs fully stuffed. Take it over to the what's for dinner table to see what it eats. The spinner for sights and trigger control, some practical accuracy, and then give you concluding thoughts. All coming up next on GBGuns. All right, sorry about the background noise, guys. It's public range. I don't own a range. I'm not that wealthy. It's 8 a.m. on a Saturday. I figured this would be a safe time to do it. Anyways, get the target camera fired up. We are 20 yards back from a C-zone reduced size piece of steel. All right, just making sure we're on there. And my first 10 rounds using a Fiocchi 95 grain 380. See how this little guy does. I'm gonna play with the safety a bit and some ready ups. Get a feel for it. It's hard to engage the safety. Disengaging the safety is pretty easy. And one of the things with 380s is often a stout or snappy recoil because a lot of them are blowback operated. This one is not described as blowback, but as we saw on the tabletop, it looks pretty damn blowback to me. And the recoil impulse is very poppy. It's very assertive, but it's not a lot of recoil. Likely due to the weight of the gun. Feels pretty comfortable. I'm getting a little bit of kind of jarring in the hand, but nothing too terrible there. So let's see how it does full mag plus one fully stuffed. If you're wondering how I'm able to do this, this is because the magazine, both for the MC14 I reviewed 8 years ago, and for the Fati 13 that I reviewed 4 years ago, fit. So if you go fully stuffed on this, you do need to put a little bit of extra force in there. Now I'll bear down and see what kind of reasonable speed I can get on there, but more importantly, we'll see how the gun runs when you have 14 rounds in it. No issues. The brass ejection is definitely positive. As one would expect from an open top design, there's nothing there to slow it down, and kind of neat to have 380 brass raining down well after you're done shooting. That was freaking easy. This will be a fun one. All right, let's see what it eats. And the crowd favorite, what's for dinner time? As we roll past these, you'll see we're going from 50 grain up to 102 grain today. Each of these loads has a different ogive location, overall loaded length, projectile shape, case type, all of that. We're looking to see what will the gun eat. Will it feed from side lock? Will it cycle another round of the same type? And will it lock open on empty? If you're curious about trying any of these for deeper trials yourself, check the pinned comment over at gbgunsdepot.com. I will link to sources where I can find this. Or what's for dinner? We are 7 yards back from some 2-inch circles. I'll do my best to keep the editing on track this time. And looking to see how the gun runs. Our lightest load, man, it feels like this magazine is empty. Civil Defense from Liberty Ammunition, 50 grain with a advertised velocity of 1,500 feet per second. He's screaming. Circle number 1. Ran fine, and you know, recoil impulse, not bad at all. Circle 2, Norma's MHP, 85 grain. I almost said 108, that's what their 9mm load is. Interesting that we're hitting so much higher. Those definitely hit high. Third load, also 85 grain, is the Winchester Silver Tip. These tend to be spicy in 9mm. I don't recall what their 380 is like. Not bad. And definitely hit to point of aim, unlike the Norma. Interesting. Brief pause for reloading magazines. Glad I had 3. I'm curious how many of you carry a 380 or have considered carrying a 380, or maybe carried one in the past. There's always the caliber debate. Some people say that's not enough energy. Some people say they'd prefer that it not over-penetrate, and so a softer round is a good one for it. That's a lengthy discussion. Next, federal premium law enforcement. These are Hydra-Shocks, 90 grains. Did not want to load that first round. Also, kind of a wild spread there. That's interesting. Not very premium, or maybe it just doesn't like this gun. No, this gun doesn't like it. Hornady American Gunner, 90 grain for Circle 5. That fed. Spicy. I don't know if you guys are able to see just how wild the ejection is on these things, but it certainly throws them around. Now we've got a reasonably affordable load, the PPU Defense Line, 94 grain, and these have a big, broad hollow point to them. Circle 6. Feeds. Recoil not bad in that either. You know, I'm still getting a little bit of slap or punch, but not nearly as bad as I have with other 380s. Everything seems pretty controllable. Now, a Blazer aluminum. These are 95 grain. We use aluminum and sometimes steel when we can find it, for the same reason you guys do, because it's affordable. It's cheaper to make, it's cheaper to, well, the aluminum's cheaper to ship because it weighs less. However, the expansion contraction rate of the case is different than brass. Also, the friction coefficient between stacked rounds in the magazine going into and coming out of the chamber is different than brass. This can cause some guns to choke on it. Usually blowback and aluminum is not a good idea. We'll see on Circle 7. That's spicy. Yeah, it feels like it's opening sooner. Certainly group nice though. Next up is Lawman, or Lawman by Spear, 95 grain. These are just regular full metal jackets. That'll give us a feel for how the round shoots. Seeing sparks with this one. Shot pretty nice. Now the old Remington Golden Saber, 102 grain. This is a brass jacketed hollow point. Heavy round for 380. Did not get side lock. Whew. We've got some gunk. The camera's probably not going to pick up on it. Gunk in the chamber there. Looks like a primer seal. Make sure that made it all the way out the barrel. I don't remember which of these loads had a sealed primer, but interesting. All right, Remington Handgun Ultimate Defense Compact Handgun, 102 grain, brass jacketed hollow point. Looks a whole lot like the Golden Saber. Is it the same or not? I don't know. Oof, it is not the same. That's spicy. Jeez. I don't know if the camera's showing you this or not, but that is some recoil. Yeah. Put that on my list of rounds to not shoot all day. But aside from one hang up on feeding, looks pretty omnivorous. Now head over to the spinner for sights and trigger control. That is our 6-inch Titan Grid Outdoors spinner target, back here about 13 yards away. Use this target for sights and trigger control because it's a small target at distance, and as I hit it, it starts to move. The better I hit it, the faster it moves, and the more important timing a well-placed shot becomes if I want to spin it over the top. Plus, it's fun. I've got 8 rounds of Fiocchi 95 grain. Everyone say a quick prayer for 380. I don't know if we're going to have the energy for it or not, but give it a try. Well, we hit it, and that's the important part. Aside from the obvious lesson in muzzle energy, that was fairly easy to do. As you saw, I only missed twice. Was able to keep a pretty good pattern going. One miss, I think, was me trying to rush it. The other miss was poor timing on my part. But 6 out of 8 were right on there. These sights are nice and large, as you guys saw on the tabletop, and the trigger good and crisp and predictable, very timeable, very easy to do a precise timed shot with the Girsan MC14G84. How precise? Let's head over for practical accuracy. Now, as a reminder, practical accuracy is not the absolute bench shooting of handguns, because guess what? Nobody really bench shoots a handgun. This is how good can an average shooter human being be with the gun, with the ammo and the circumstances. I am 7 yards back from a 1-inch square, aiming at that left one, and I'm just using that Fiocchi 95 grain full metal jacket. But we'll see how I can do. This is also when I collect my final thoughts. And why I use this target is because that 1-inch square is about the same size as the front sight post at this distance. I'll take it. Pretty happy with that. Aftershot thoughts on the Girsan MC14G84. It's a handsome gun and it shoots well. I got a little bit of pink in the web of my hand just from the shock. Some of those loads were a little bit spicy in the What's for Dinner test that definitely upped the recoil. But overall, especially with that Fiocchi, which is typically a soft load, very comfortable to shoot. People might be asking, well, what's this for? You can't put a dot on it, you can't put a light on it. True, it could still be a carry gun. It could still be a home defense gun. And it can definitely be a range gun. It's not a terrible gun to shoot, very comfortable. My XXL glove hands fitting perfectly onto it thanks to that pinky rest on the magazine. Comfy, handsome, easy to shoot, hammer-fired gun. I wish it had a decocker just because, as I showed in the tabletop, the double action on this is actually pretty darn smooth. But it's a safety only, but ambi safety. It's a nice gun. Does it outclass the wide array of 9mm that are out there? No, I don't think it's trying to either. It's a reproduction of a classic gun, handsomely done. Something to enjoy a bit of a historical piece without necessarily beating up a historical piece, because this is brand new produced and very affordable, and you can get another one. And for the folks who are concerned about buying imports, I've already shown you this is the third life cycle of this gun that I'm aware of in the last 8 years. So it's still going to be around, and people say, well, you can't get mags. I believe it takes the Beretta 84 mags. Check, and those of you who know Beretta 84s, let me know. Do those magazine cuts look like it to you? You can probably see it better in the tabletop video. But I've got 3 mags thanks to having 2 other iterations of this basic gun design. I'm happy. And this one, I think, probably shoots the best of the 3 of them. The spring on it is a little bit heavier than what I've felt on other models, and that helps soak up some of the recoil. So I think it's a new fun gun for me. Anyways, let me know what your thoughts are on the Girsan MC14G84. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.